morning number 3, post ice storm, or of the ice storm, and luckily it is warm and all of the ice has come off the trees, and a lot of them are starting to stand back up, which is great, of the little trees. And of the big trees, the limbs that were kind of still on the tree but bent over are standing up. So look at, they all look so sad. I mean, some of them still do look really sad, but it is astonishing how much, how resilient trees are. Because they looked really bad and have sustained a lot of damage. Come on out, you guys. These guys have been in for 2 days, so they'll be ready to... Good morning. Yeah, there is a lot of good news that, you know, a lot of the trees made it, but now the work begins. Let's feed these chickens. Surprisingly, our fruit trees fared very well. Probably the best of all of our trees. So this is all we have left, really, are just pieces laying on top of the limbs. Simon, are you happy to see your girlfriends? Woohoo! Our most favorite white pines are starting to look alive again. The limbs are actually like moving in the wind, which is great. Unfortunately, today we have forecast high winds, but although that adds like a safety, like a piece of safety, right? Because not only now we have broken stuff, we have hangers, but if you keep the area clear, those high winds will actually work to help knock some of the hangers, like the pieces of tree hung up in other trees and things like that, will hopefully bring some of those down to the ground, because you don't want to be having any kind of broken limbs up in the canopy in trees kind of past a storm event like this. So hopefully that will happen, but you know, it's going to take some time to clean a lot of this up. This morning it doesn't look so bad. Obviously, you know, pieces of the tree that are broken right off, there's no bringing those back, but trees are really resilient, and like I said last night, in 100 years you won't even know that this was a thing, and so hopefully a lot of the trees kind of snap back, not snap, but bounce back. Some of these trees over here, they're a little bit more protected, still have a lot of ice on them, so stuff like this little spruce tree. But I can hear the birds again today, so that's nice. Yeah, I can still hear a lot of the ice coming down, so yeah, Brian and I are going to wait for the day to allow more of the ice to melt, and then we're going to try and get into the bush with our hard hats on, to try to see about collecting any more sap. But it's nice to hear the birds singing again this morning.
Well, I'm going to go in to have a quick little peek now that most of the ice, or almost all the ice, is off the trees. Still obviously tons of hazards. Got my hard hat on. Really just going to walk in and find some of the most open spots. You can see our little birch friend that likely is not going to spring back up, is slowly starting to drop its ice. You can see it falling off while I'm standing here. So the remainder of the ice is just starting to fall off, but I'm going to say 90% of the bush that's a little warmer has already shed its ice. Really, I'm in to look at the maple equipment and see if it's accessible, maybe even worthwhile collecting. I mean, the damage is done, but maybe worthwhile collecting and boiling what we got so we can give our ladies a break. So as you can see, the trail is a little bit littered, to say the least, with some heavy stems broken, some of our nice hard maple, but we'll go in and have a look. Big pine here. You can see that we were watching for most of the day. Yeah, that's lost maybe 60% of its canopy. You know, also maybe a candidate for something, maybe hit the sawmill or maybe just let everything recover. But then we've got trees like this one here, hard maple, retained relatively all of its crown. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a hit and miss. We got some old girls here. You can see this pile laying here. You can see where that came from. I don't think it's a career ender, but really these trees won't be, from a maple syrup perspective, getting tapped in the future, just to save them and let them do what they need to do for the rest of their lifespan in the forest here. We're obviously understanding that not all the trees can handle this type of event, but a good friend of ours, Lacey, reminded us, like a good friend will, that Mother Nature and trees are designed to survive. They have, they will. So yeah, it's just really tough to watch. When you love trees and love the forest like we do here, it's really tough to listen to. I don't think I slept at all on Saturday night, to be honest with you. That's a good sign, and we're dripping, so we may save a little bit extra, but we don't want to be greedy.
Yeah.
There's not many big full maple failures. There's a couple that are like got banged up pretty good.
Yeah.
Like our ones at the top. There's ones at the top of the high elevation hills.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
But this might be a good time to come in and drop all the poplars that we don't want, because everything's banged up already.
If you look at the percentage of it, is mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Well, there's nothing you can do. Oh, there's a bucket down. We got a bucket down. What?
Bucket down.
Oh, maple top came out. Well, that maple. Where are the buckets down? The whole top busted out. Okay, firewood. That's like, we just got to look at it that way. It just means a ton of work. Oh, this one totally uprooted. So these totally uprooted, which that's interesting. Just because the ground is so saturated.
So heavy, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Here.
Yeah. Me too.
That's half of that one that had it.
Yeah.
But these ones, that one lost half that back. We got 70% of our ones that we normally tap are still decent.
Yep.
In general. Hey, buddy.
As you can hear is generators humming and chainsaws running. Oh, these are all sugar maple limbs. All right, I've seen enough.
Well, I want to go down and check our tree stand too.
Well, you can go down. I'm just going to go back and keep marking. Right, anyways. It's tragic, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do except clean it up and let the forest kind of bounce back over the next number of years. Yeah, we got to get this trail clean so we can get in here and collect sap, because there is sap in the buckets. So before we pull the taps, we should just collect the sap and pull the taps and let the forest recover, which it will. It'll take some time, but it'll happen. Well, we are geared up and we are going in. The wind's picking up here a little bit, so we're gonna have to be careful, but we just want to clean up a little bit. I never thought we'd be checking buckets with hard hats on, but here we are. Last donation. Well, we got about 200 meters left of the sap run where we have to drive. And really all we're doing is clearing the trail so that we can collect sap and maybe take some of these buckets out. Well, the ones that got annihilated anyways. Some are still looking pretty good, but some look pretty sad. Anyways, that's all for today. We are fueled, tooled, and with all of our PPE. This is not an abundance of caution because there are still a ton of hangers, aka widowmakers, in the bush, and we are going to pull our taps and collect the last batch of sap. We are officially tapped out in so many ways. This has been a very long season for us, and we're ready to be done. Oh my gosh. Bark and squeak. That's awesome. A lot of the buckets are overflowing. Limbs like this. We cleared all these trails on Monday, so these are still coming down, which is pretty scary. So the idea is not to spend a ton of time in the bush. Try to stay on the trail, and even then, there's still a lot of hangers up here. So, and who knows even if a hard hat would even help. So I've just parked where there are no hangers. I'm going to estimate that we've got about 800 liters. I'm going to tell you if I make my mark at the end. We have pulled some taps, so we won't have those big buckets. But I would imagine maybe between 600 or 800 liters out here, because some of these buckets are dripping, so that means they're full. But I am very relieved to be done this season. This was the busiest syrup season we've had so far. We made a lot of changes. We've collected a lot of sap. We've had some struggles, so just quick as I'm waiting for Brian. The other night we were boiling after work. And just with the ice storm and stuff, things have been super stressful and hectic, and running on generators and all this stuff. And I brought dinner out. It was really late, so we were trying to get some food into us, and then all of a sudden I smelt I'm like, oh, I smell like burning sap, and we had just lost track of the front pan, so the finishing pan, and we burnt it to the bottom, and that's a first for us. So that sucked, because Brian, you know, he felt like it was his fault, and it really was nobody's fault. We were just super busy and lost track of things. So it's all good, got it cleaned off, but we did lose some, which sucks when you've done all that work, but good lesson learned. And it happens, like it just happens, especially when you're busy with other things and stressed out by the ice storm and stuff like that. So anyways, my tote has arrived, so let's begin collection. Oh, we're not doing... Oh my God, he's drives me bonkers sometimes. Brian wanted to mark every single hole that we had tapped with a thumbtack just to find it easier. Like, you can tell where you tapped the previous year, but just to make tapping faster. But honestly, next year we're going to have to do some serious evaluating of the trees before we even set taps. So we might do that this year and just decide which trees we are not going to tap next year. Like this one here, it's running like crazy today, but look at all this left of the crown. Like that one is a hanger, so like there's nothing left. So these trees like in my immediate right here are probably going to be firewood next year or the year after. So yeah, that ice storm, she packed a wallop in here, unfortunately. Ugh, I'm getting out of here. Here we go. We gotta get to work. All these limbs, these huge big limbs, like this mess of limbs, are from this tree. Yikes. She's gushing. Last sap drink of the year. we're done. But right here, this is the not so sweet part of maple syrup season. Brian just totally overflowed the tote. So my estimation for 600 to 800, it's over 1,000 liters, and then we just wasted some off the side because that's where we're at. Anyways, this will be the last RO, the last boil, the last bottle for the season. So we'll put how we did. I'll maybe make a video on more bottling, but anyways, we'll put how we did this year. I would say we collected about 6,000 liters of sap, so that would be the most we've ever done. So overall, it was a very good season. Lots of challenges, especially with the ice storm, but all in all, it was pretty good. One last snow roll for good measure. Well, this won't be the last. There's lots of snow left, but she's making the most of it. Oh my God. Well, this is the not so sweet job of sugaring season. The aftermath and the cleanup. Yes, our syrup is beautiful this year, and we got quite a bit. We don't have a final count because we still have to bottle some tonight, but I'm going to take advantage, thanks Hugh, of this nice, kind of sunny, it's overcast, but there's a little bit of blue sky, to start to clean all of the equipment, just to give you a bit of an idea. 80 some blue buckets to wash. The spiles are done separately, but all of these buckets have to have a hand scrub. We tried to use a power wash in other years, but a power washer, but we just found that it's still, like, it didn't get some of the harder stuff to get off. And really the sap is water soluble, but if it sits for too long, then you will get bacteria growing, or you can get mold growing. So I like to use like a bottle brush or a scrubber and just give it a once over. And then luckily our hose has hot water, and it's like burning hot water, so that works really well. And then once I'm done here, in previous years, we've put the buckets in the garage to dry, but that still has our bottling equipment in it because we still have to bottle some stuff. So I'm going to put it in the shop, and that way it's kind of out of there. And then it's actually an easier transfer into the sugar shed once everything in there is cleaned. So the cleanup process is immense. The more taps you put in, the more cleaning you have to do, and sometimes you forget that part, luckily, as you expand your operation and take on more and more. All the power lines, all the new power lines from the ice storm and the crews have been up and down the road steady today, and it makes me almost, I'm gonna get weepy. It is, I feel bad actually being home today working and we have power, but it just makes me weepy knowing how hard these people are working. It's 9 days after the storm, and there are still a lot of people without power, and crews are working like 16-hour shifts to get power restored and doing very dangerous work. That's the thing. It's extremely still very dangerous. There's still a ton of hangers and unstable trees and trees that have defects that have to be fixed. And poles that have to be sunk, and it's just a massive amount of work, and there's crews coming in from other provinces to help, and it is just really heartwarming to see. Anyways, I digress. Let's get cleaning some buckets. Oh, wow. These are pretty low-hanging fruit. They just get a rinse because I can't fit a brush in there. And because it's only 0 degrees today, I'm wearing little finger gloves under my rubber gloves to try to stay warm. Each blue bucket gets a scrub on the bottom because it's ribbed, and it algae or bacteria will grow. Sorry, bacteria, whatever, scuzz grows down there, mold, I don't know what it is. Then I scrub it on the inside, scrub it on the outside, rinse it. So everyone. We're on the home stretch though, so that's a good thing. All right, well, we've got all the buckets washed and kind of stacked and ready to be put away, and we've put everything away in the sugar shed for the summertime. But one of the kind of worst jobs, and it's always one that Brian does, well, there was an extra job this year because he cleaned the RO system this morning and packed the membranes into the freezer. But the second job that he's doing today, and arguably one of the most important, is cleaning the pans of the evaporator. And especially after the little syrup burning incident, he got some pre-practice a couple of weeks ago, but today he is just cleaning the pans. So do you want to tell us what you've done here?
Yeah. We're using a product from CDL, SaniClean, which is a stainless evaporator pan cleaner. Mixed 100 to 1 with permeate water from the RO system. So I'm just filling it up. Got it about as high as I can get it because I found out that if I don't have my float set up, that eventually you fill it up so high. And thank goodness I had a little blue plug, so I already had a little spill. Another thing to think about for next year. But you fill it up, bring it to almost the boiling point, and then damper it down and let it sit for a minimum of 3 hours. If you have a big soak like we'll do in the back pan, probably leave it overnight and then take care of it in the morning. So we'll empty it, then we'll refill it again to the same level or a little higher with permeate water from the RO system again. That'll help rinse it out, make sure that there's no residual SaniClean left. And then obviously after we bring it up to a boil again and let it steam for a little bit, drain it again and then rinse it out. Flip it over and let it dry. I usually flip these 7-inch fluted pan upside down in the summer, and then this one here is not fluted, but just once I get a nice warm, dry, sunny day, I take them out and I turn them over, and usually the creosote or char that's on the bottom flues will dry up, and then I knock it off so that it's nice and shiny, and back in it comes for next year.
You can see the scuzz that's coming up, that's kind of boiling up off, and even some on the side there is
Scuzzy
that will have to get maybe scrubbed. This pan looks a lot cleaner because this one is the one that we burnt, so it's already pretty clean. So it's not going to take as much. Let me show you the product that we use. And there are a lot of different ways to clean your pans at the end of the year. So the natural way to do it is it's called like the sour sap method. So you can take sap, leave it in the pans, fill them up all the way or as high as it's safe to, and then let it ferment, basically go sour. And that will the acidity will pull the stuck on niter and stuff off the pan. But also a light vinegar mix. Like, what's the ratio for the vinegar?
Usually depending, but 50-50.
50-50 for vinegar. So anything acidic, not anything acidic, but those are two kind of more natural options. And then this is the product that we use here. It is highly concentrated, so you have to wear protective gloves when you measure it and mix it. But it's called CDL SaniClean. So there's a fire going under here, so that's kind of nice. It's a beautiful day for it. But we are on the back end of cleaning. I'm going to clean all the stuff out of the garage today and kind of get things back to order. We've got totes everywhere. One other thing I do want to show you, which was kind of a bummer. So on our very last day that we collected, we got a ton of sap. Just a ton, way more than I was expecting or that I had estimated. And so literally, like, we didn't even have enough room in the tote to finish dumping sap, but we filled it right up to the top of the tote, and then we screwed this lid on, and then overnight, look at how strong that suction was. Like, these crates are extremely tough, and so are these totes, but it buckled the tote and literally sucked it down and bent these top bars. So this was a brand new tote that we bought this year, and the power of the suction sucked this down. So that was pretty incredible. So we're just gonna have to try and find a way to just pop that back up. Probably not fix the tote, because that, I think that might be permanent. But yeah, so that was unexpected side effect of filling your tote right to the tippy top. So don't do that and screw the lid on. If we hadn't screwed the lid on, we would have been fine, but we screwed the lid on. So noted for next year. But yeah, we've got we got a lot of stuff to do. So I'm gonna try to make the most of the rest of the day and get going